For centuries, understanding the ancient kingdom of Judah relied entirely on curated theological texts. But relying solely on written scripture leaves a gap in history. When an ancient author writes with a specific religious or political agenda, the material raises questions about the actual scale of events and the objectivity of the narrative. To address this, archaeologists have spent the last century unearthing an independent material ledger. We can track the political and economic evolution of Judah over a 500-year period, from 1000 BCE to 500 BCE, using the physical evidence left in the ground. To accurately model the history of the ancient Levant, reading the scrolls is insufficient. We must cross-reference them with the stratigraphy of the earth itself. This physical ledger relies on two data streams: stratigraphy, the layering of ruins over time, and epigraphy, the study of ancient inscriptions on hard surfaces. This timeline spans from 1000 BCE to 500 BCE, providing a horizontal axis to plot the physical evidence as it emerges. We will test three distinct phases of the Judean state: its 10th century origins, its mature administrative apparatus, and its ultimate collapse. Plotting these specific datable artifacts establishes a parallel empirical reality that exists independently of the literary tradition. For decades, historians debated the nature of 10th century Judah. The minimalist school argued the region was a loose tribal chiefdom, lacking the centralization required to be classified as a state. The excavation of the fortress at Khirbet Qeiyafa provided direct physical data to test that theory. Statecraft leaves architectural signatures. Two of the most prominent indicators are casemate walls, defensive barriers with hollow rooms integrated into the wall, and symmetrical, multi-chambered city gates. This top-down schematic of Khirbet Qeiyafa reveals a highly standardized layout. The site features a continuous peripheral belt of casemate houses and the rare inclusion of two identical city gates. Executing a uniform construction project of this scale requires central planning. An administrative body had to conscript labor, manage resources, and enforce a rigid urban blueprint over the terrain. The presence of systematic urban planning at Khirbet Qeiyafa indicates that 10th century Judah possessed the administrative apparatus of a complex state. Structural ruins prove a state existed, but they rarely provide names. For that, we turn to epigraphic records. In northern Israel, archaeologists discovered the Tel Dan Stele, a victory monument erected by a hostile Aramaean king boasting of his military conquests. Carved into the surface of this fragmented basalt stone are ancient characters detailing the defeat of two rival powers. Within the text, the inscription explicitly names one of those powers, Baitud Dawood, translating to the House of David. A second corroboration comes from the Mesha stele, an arched monument erected by the neighboring Moabites, which features the identical dynastic title. These independent records, written by regional enemies, verify that a ruling Judean dynasty existed exactly when the stratigraphy shows rapid state formation. In the 8th and 7th centuries BCE, the physical evidence shifts from state formation to peak administrative maturity. This is the Siloam Tunnel, a feat of civic engineering carved through bedrock to protect Jerusalem's water supply during a siege. The commemorative inscription found inside details the moment two digging teams met in the dark rock. The cursive nature of the script indicates an established writing tradition, while the text itself documents the advanced coordination required between the two teams. Written in ink on a piece of broken pottery, this 7th century document is a formal legal petition. A common reaper is complaining to the local Judean governor that his cloak was unjustly confiscated by an overseer. The reaper bases his claim on the premise that holding a worker's garment as collateral past sundown is illegal. He implicitly references local welfare laws, demonstrating a functioning legal system bound by a shared cultural code. When a state transitions from erecting royal monuments to processing written legal complaints from peasant farmers, it has achieved a bureaucracy reaching every layer of society. That administrative apparatus came to an end in the 6th century BCE with the Babylonian siege of Jerusalem. When archaeologist Nachman Avigad excavated the base of an Israelite defense tower, his team hit a dense, distinct layer of ash spanning the site. The military artifacts trapped inside that ash layer act as a precise chronological pin for the destruction of the city. Amidst the debris, excavators recovered cast bronze Scythian arrowheads, standard issue for Nebuchadnezzar's army. The distinctive 3 triangular fins and the hollow socket at the base identify these weapons as 6th century Babylonian siege artillery. These small bronze projectiles provide a forensic anchor for the city's destruction, documenting the Judean collapse as a specific empirical military event. Following the destruction of Jerusalem, the physical record tracks the surviving Judeans eastward as they are displaced into Mesopotamia. The material record of this period survives in a collection of clay documents known as the Al-Yahudu, or Judatown tablets. Rather than poetic laments, these are everyday bureaucratic administrative records. Impressed with rows of cuneiform script, these tablets are tax receipts, promissory notes, and land for service contracts managed by the Babylonian state. Researchers use the science of onomastics, the study of names, to track the displaced population. Judeans appear throughout these texts, identified by names containing the element Yahu, referring to Yahweh. One record lists an official named Yahu-Shazar. This blends the Hebrew Yahweh with the Babylonian protect the king, proving that the Judeans integrated into the local economy while maintaining their identity. The Al-Yahudu tablets establish the socio-economic framework of the exile, documenting it as a logistical reality of taxes, farming, and debt. Return to our original question. How do we verify the past when surviving texts carry a clear agenda? This completed timeline reveals a continuous chain of evidence. We link the casemates at Qeiyafa, the dynastic Steles, the Siloam water tunnel, the Scythian arrowheads, and the cuneiform tablets of Al-Yahudu. This overlapping archaeological record provides a granular framework, showing that history is not a binary choice between true or false texts. By pairing the analysis of urban planning with strict epigraphy, we have reconstructed a working model of the Judean state from its inception to its collapse. The history of the Levant is preserved in the curated scrolls, but it is anchored by the ash layers, the cuneiform tax receipts, and the broken limestone buried beneath the dirt.